here we go. Let's get started now. This is all about bebop enclosures. Now, the most important thing that I try to keep in mind when I'm practicing this stuff is to think about the root, the third, and the fifth. Now, let's just talk about that real quick, set this up. Okay, so if I'm thinking, let's say the C major scale. So I'm going to play the C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Good. So the root is the C, otherwise known as 1 if you're doing that counting thing, right? So 1 is the root. You'll see that as an R in my chart. All right, then we skip 2 and we're going to go to 3. That's the third note of the scale. This is one of the most crucial notes in any scale. It tells us, in this case, we're saying major, but if I did this, it would be minor, but it would still be the third note of the minor scale. Okay, so we have 1, which is, in this case, is C. D is the second. 3, that's big, that's E. Then we're gonna skip 4 and go to the 5. 5 is big too, especially for bass players, so that's G. So if you put 1, 3, 5 together, then we get C, E, G, otherwise known as a triad. And in this case, a major triad, because I'm playing a major third from the root, the 1 to the third. Cool, okay. So if you're just joining us too, please feel free to leave some questions, some comments, anything you like. I'm going to get started talking about some of these 7 different ways that we can work and practice our bebop enclosures. And here's our first one. Okay, so now you might notice in the tab that I have up here, or the transcription that I have up here, you can hopefully, whatever device you're on, you can make out the colors that are going on. Just really quick, I want to explain this to you. Over here, these are red because they're grouped towards the root. So red for root, okay? So when we see our transcription coming up later with the exercise to practice, everything you see in red is geared towards the root. Blue for the third. So I'm just doing red, blue, green. Yeah, right, RGB. The third, blue, right? And then the fifth for green, okay? So this is our first enclosure, and it's all about, again, the root, which is red right over here, that job. The third, can I do this? The third right here, E, and then the fifth, which is G. So those are all of our goals. So we really want to have that together, knowing where this is, and this is, okay? Now, the point with enclosures is to wrap around those goals. So for instance, in this case, I'm going to play my goal, but I'm really trying to get back to my goal. So what I'm going to do is play the root, a scale step above it, a chromatic note below it, and then finally back home where I'm trying to go. So that gives me this little pillow for the root to sit upon, right? Right in the middle. It sounds like it wants to go there, right? And so that's the main idea with enclosures. We're going to change the different ways that we're enveloping this root or this third or this fifth. But this is the way that this is the formula we're gonna use in bebop exercise number 1, okay? So if you don't wanna look at this little sheet here, that's totally, I understand that, but you can click downstairs and get a link to the PDF and practice along with me, okay? And again, this is upright, electric bass, piano, anything. If you wanna sing this, if you're playing another instrument, you can just listen to what we're doing. It's all music, right? So, okay, here's our first enclosure. Let's get practicing on this. So we have the goal, then a scale step above it, and a half step below it. Now we're gonna do the same thing to the third, okay? So right in this area, we're starting at the third, which in this case is E natural. I was about to say C because we're in the key of C. But here we have E, then a scale step above that is F. A chromatic note below that E is E flat, so right there. You see I've got in my tab down here, 2, 3, 1, 2. Except it's on the wrong string. So I'm just noticing that mistake. This should be on the D string, okay? That will get fixed post, I'm sure. Thanks, Andrew. Okay, now we'll do the same thing to the fifth, right? Which is also on the wrong string in this exercise. It should be the 5th fret on the D string. So 5, 7, 4, 5, right? But the idea is still the same, right? So let's check this out. I'm gonna throw on my metronome. I'm going to lower it just a little bit to 60. Hopefully you can hear that okay. I'm considering this beats 2 and 4. So the tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to do this as quarter notes, okay? So we're going to play the root, the scale step above it, half step below. Well, I'll bring it back. Let's do this in quarter notes, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Root, third, fifth. Does that make sense? Let's just circle the root for a minute. Let's just repeat this. So 1, 2, 3, go. So we're just getting back to this, and this really can function as a bass line too, because it's directional. Like where it's heading is super important. Let's do the same thing to the third. So we're going to play the third, which is E, then F, then E flat, and back to the E. 1, 2, 3, go. 3. So this is E, F, E flat, E. Great. Let's do the same thing to the fifth now, over here. So we have G, A, F sharp, G. You ready? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, go. Great. So that's the main concept. We're going to do something like this around the C, around the E, around the G. Let's put them all together now. So the root, into the third, into the fifth. Once more. 1, 2, 3, go. Of course, we can go back down. So let's do it from G to E to C. 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So that's great information, right? And you can find a bunch of stuff like that. That's just our first one that we were dealing with, but I want to say this really quick, is that's great information, but how do you practice that? How do you work on that? And that's what we're here to do today. Is to take this kind of information, figure out ways to practice it, practice that information, and then hopefully give you ideas on other ways that you can practice it and develop it into your solo ideas, or understand when it's happening when you hear it in recordings so you can be able to play it back. So here's my kind of idea for that. Again, you can find this, all this worksheet down below. Just click the link and you can get it for free, okay? So what we have here is more of using jazz rhythms phrasing concept on how to practice this enclosure, okay? So you notice I'm not starting on beat 1 here, right? So if my tempo, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, da da ba da. Starting on that end of 3 gives a good leap forward, right? I just messed up my screen by doing that, my camera by doing that. Am I still blurry? Come on, camera, come back. Hey, all right, it'll find its way, I'm sure. So sorry it's blurry. But the main idea is that it's moving forward, right? So from here, trying to move forward. So this end of 3, by not starting just on beat 1, that's a big, that's a big thing that can help us out, okay? So, okay, my camera's freaking me out. Come on now. You see the bass. You see me. It's still blurry. All right, there's nothing I can do about that. Let's practice. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what I just did, right, was the same thing that we did in quarter notes, except sped up. So now we're in eighth notes, of course, but this is our enclosure to get to the root on beat 1. It's very important that that lands on beat 1 so that everything feels like it's rhythmically lined up, okay? So we're gonna do the same thing to where we go to the third, which is right here on beat 3 of this measure, then the fifth, then the root again, then the fifth, and then back to the root. So again, you can see in the red, this is our root. In blue, that's the third. Then in green, that's the fifth. So every time you see that, that's what we're doing, okay? Now this tab down here is arbitrary, it's up to you. If you want to play it in different places, of course you can. So let's try that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So you hear how it lines up and it's flowing. It's got a rhythmic bounce to it, and that's super important. That's why we're practicing it that way. Okay, so let's try it again together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. right? So I'm still trying to keep all of my notes, just like if we were doing it on upright, you know, I'm a stickler for saying, you know, getting your sound right, you know, and it's a different thing on electric bass, I'm not gonna lie. But the same ideas apply for getting a good sound, is getting a good attack, having a long sustain, at least in this case, and having every note be clear. So we don't have to worry about intonation as much, but we still really need to worry about, on electric bass, noise and other things like that that are happening, right? So let's try this exercise again. This is our exercise 1, to where we're doing scale above, well, we're hitting the goal, scale above, chromatic below, and then back to the goal. So let's try it again. Here's the 8th notes. Let's do it a few times through. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And we can loop it, right? Right? So automatically, this kind of gets us in the bebop flavor, like as far as like anticipating where the downbeat's landing, but being very focused on where we're putting that root, 3rd, 5th. Remember the enclosures, it's all about the triad. It's all about understanding really clearly, and especially as bass players, of course, we should know this, about the root, the 3rd, and the 5th, and then we just focus on how we're altering, getting to that. So this is a good jumping off place to learn bebop enclosures, right? Let's check out our next one, okay? So the same idea applies as we are trying to hit the root here in red, right? That's the root, but we're approaching it. Enclosure is all about like how we're approaching where we're trying to get to, or how we're enveloping that goal. Our goal is still C, except now we're gonna hit C, and instead of going up to D, we're gonna go down to B, then up to D. So we're using the same idea as enclosure number 1, except reversing it. So let's get this under our fingers. So we're playing 1, we're playing root, 7, 9, 1. Remember that whole scale thing we delineated earlier? That's what's up here. There's no real chromaticism, all of this is diatonic, okay? But that falls out of the window when we go to the 3rd, right? So if we go to the 3rd, which here is in blue, right over here, right? We're playing E natural, E flat, so going down a half step, going down chromatically, scale step above, which in this case is F, and then back to E again. So, right? Now the same thing to the 5th. Okay, got that under your fingers? You should have this in your ears too, start to understand and be able to hear which direction people are going when they're changing these bebop lines, right? So it's cool. Let's try it all together. Just as quarter notes, let's play it going up and we'll take a break and we'll do it again. So 1, 2, exercise 2, go. And here's the 5th. Great, let's do it from the root again. 1, 2, 3, go. Here's the root, here's the 3rd, here's the 5th. If you go back to the 3rd, it would be like that. Right? Great. Okay, let's turn that enclosure, that's our second one. So remember, our first one was going above and then below. So we're going scale step above, then chromatic below. This is our second one. We are going chromatic below and then scale step above. We're just changing the direction, but it changes the line. All right, so now let's try it with our 8th note exercise. So we're still doing the same thing. We're starting on the and of 3, just to make sure everything lines up rhythmically. You can experiment with different places to do it. This really flows well for the amount of choices of notes, the number of notes. And you'll see when we get to further enclosures how that lines up with different numbers. Okay, so stay tuned. We're gonna do some of that. Let's try this now. So this is enclosure 2. Chromatic below, then scale above, and then back to our goal. You ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And repeat it. One more time. Good. Fun, right? They just fall, you know, it falls under your fingers the more you do it. And these can easily be transposed, and you should absolutely transpose them to different keys. We're not really going to focus on that today, I just want to present 7 different ways that we can do it, and then I have a bonus bebop line at the end that uses some enclosures. But of course you could do this in F, B flat, E flat, all of the other keys using the same concepts, using the root, the third, and then the fifth. Okay, let's look at number 3 now. So here's our next way to enclose the root. Oh, yep. Oh, I'm out of order here. Sorry. I think it's, nope, it's this guy. There we go. So number 3, we're still enclosing the root. We're trying to get here the root. We're trying to get here the third. We're trying to get here the fifth. We're just doing it a different way. That's the biggest concept here. So how we're doing it now in enclosure number 3 is to start a scale step above, then land at the root, then a chromatic below, and then back to the root. So we're kind of hitting that root and then we're pivoting back and forth. So what it sounds like is instead of starting on C, we're going to start on D. So play D, and then C, B, C. You can see that right over here, right? Da, ya, da. The same thing happens here. Da, da, da. We're just enveloping this third again in a different way, right? So scale step above, the root, or the goal, I mean, chromatic below, and then back to that goal. Look at the fifth. Scale step above in the key of C would be A. A, G, F sharp, G. Right? So let's practice this through a couple times, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Quarter notes. Here's the third. Now we're trying to get to the fifth, but we're not hitting it to start with, so we have to think a little bit ahead, like where are we heading to? So if I'm going to start at C, that means I want to, or if I want my first chord tone to be the root, then I'm going to play the 9th above it or a scale step above that and then go down. So I have to think ahead just a little bit. And of course you could do this up to the octave. And further and further, you know, this range shouldn't be a limiter. I just wanted everything to fit on the screen pretty safely, you know what I mean? And be visible. So here we have a slightly different, oh, no, this is out of order too. Oh no, hang in there guys. That's not what I mean. Hold on. Oh, I did this one twice. Okay, we can do it without. So basically the idea here is to do eighth notes like we were doing in the first 2 exercises with this enclosure. So I'm just going to play it for you, okay? I was having a snafu on the visuals, my fault, okay? But here we are. So remember, our enclosure is like this. And then we want to go up to that root and then come back down. Again to the third and then again to the root. So the exercise is going to be like this. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Right? To the root, to the third, to the fifth, to the root again. Back down to the fifth, third, and again to the root. Oh. Sorry, I'm trying to look at my screen and throwing myself all off. All right, let's see. We should be at number 4 now, right? This is Bebop Enclosure number 4, and that's 3. Here is Bebop Enclosure number 4, and it has to do with, again, the roots, the thirds, and the fifths. Here we are. Red is root, blue is the third, the fifth is green over here. See, we're getting to the root. Enclosures is all about getting to these 3 goalposts, the root, the third, and the fifth, and understanding how we can change that. It's usually done with a half step below or chromatic below, and then a scale step above. So in this case, we're starting with that chromatic below, which also happens to be in the key, which works out, doing our goal, and then the scale step above, finally back to the root. So how would we do that to the third? I'm just going to take this away so we can think creatively about this, all right? So we're trying to get to C. We're going to play a half step below it, then to the C, then a scale step above it, and then back to it, right? So how would we do that? Going to E. So here's our goal. We don't want to start on that. We want to do that the opposite of what we just did in a previous enclosure. Start a half step below. So E flat, E, right? Then the scale step above it, and then F. So same thing to G now, okay? So we're not going to start on G, but we want to be ready for it. Fingering wise, I usually like to do this with my second finger, make these goals second fingers. At least that's what I'm noticing right now. So, but on G, G is not where I'm starting. I'm starting a half step below it, right? So F sharp, G, A, G again. All right? And so this is what that looks like one more time. Again, all this is available downstairs. Just click the link. So half step below, scale above for the root, the third, and the fifth. Let's see if this one comes out right. Half step below, root, third, fifth. I got the right one. Okay, so let's try this. You ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Cool. Let's try looping it, okay? Let's try looping this. You see how we have the repeat? It all lines up. You see in this back end, there's red right there, right? That's part of our root. So it's cyclical. We can play this over and over. So 1, 2, let's do it 3 times through. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's 2. Let's do it again. Right, awesome. And of course, this transfers, like I said, to any key or any range. It really just matters the concept or the parameters that we're putting on that root, third, and fifth, right? So that was half step below, scale step above. Let's look at number 5. This one I was mentioning earlier has a different grouping. So everything that we've done so far has been 4 notes, or that 4th note has been our goal note. So now we're going to do 3 and turn that into 8th notes and see what that feels like, because that's going to give us a different like hemiola type of vibe, like 3/4 type of vibe, which can change, does change the rhythmic, qualities of your line, but it can be kind of cool too. So let's check this out. Now we're doing the same thing. The same idea. We're doing a scale step above, chromatic below, and then getting where we're heading, right? So if you do that math, it's really, we've already done that. We're just taking out that extra chromatic note maybe that we've done, or the repeated chord tone. So in this case, we're delaying where we're heading more so than we've done before, right? So earlier we had hit the goal, bounced, pivoted around it, and come back. But here we are. Now we're gonna like completely miss it until we hit it at the end. So what this means, and we're doing this from above and then below. So we have D, B, C, and especially if your ear is attuned to this key already, you could probably hear ahead as a listener that the note wants to go there. So same thing to E. Let's do this now. That's scale step above, and now chromatic from below, right? So we have F, E flat, E. Let's do the same thing now to the G, to the 5th. So the G right there, the 5th fret on the D string. Right, so it's very similar to what we've done before, right? But now it lines up rhythmically in a different spot. So let's for instance, let's play those groups of 3, 4 just first as quarter notes. Okay, I'm going to leave this as 2 and 4. It's going to be interesting. But 1, 2, 3, go. So you hear how that feels different? It's got this 3/4, which is kind of, it's cool. You know what I mean? Like that's cool because it's a little bit unexpected. If you play right down the middle, like that's why these phrases are starting on the end of 3 too. It's because they get a little bit more unexpected type of vibe, as opposed to just hearing it start on beat 1 or on a down beat all the time. So But so if the tempo is like this, da 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 da, already the two, the swing feel is out the door, right? If we play it like that. But now if we line it up as eighth notes, like what we have here, so now instead of starting on the end of 3, I'm going to start on beat 4. Okay, so I'm still going to land on my root on beat 1 or a downbeat, but look what it does further down the road. The third is on an upbeat, so it's got a little bit more like it's bouncing, it's moving around. Then the fifth ends up on beat 4, then the root is on the and of 1. What, so everything starts to get moved around a little bit. Let's try this out, see what this feels like. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry. This is all eighth notes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Right? So the line doesn't stop. You hear how it flows and it's kind of like bobbing and weaving. You kind of hear implied accents when we get to those goals, because that's like our shape kind of changing, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. 2, 3 again. Right? That makes sense? So of course you can do that where you flip it around. Let's do this one again where we're doing above and then chromatic below. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you notice I've not done any accents or really even talked about it very much. The tendency is to accent those little groups, right? Like 2, 3. Kind of like that, do you know what I mean? But try to leave them all unaccented just to get started, okay? And then we can work on where we're putting them. 3, 4. It sounds like there's a couple accents popping out that I'm not checking, but the idea is to try to keep it all even. 2, 3, 4. So what if we did that where we flipped it? So let's do half step below, scale step above. So it'll look like this. B, D, C, E flat, F, E, F sharp, A, G, B, D, C. So that idea. Let's see if we can do it. 1, 2, 3. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So that's the idea with that. It's not tricky, it's just a different thing, but it gives a different, it's like it has a different character because we're using those groups of 3, right? Okay, so that was number 5. Let's look at number 6 now. Got this one and then one more and then a bonus like bebop line that I wrote out that has enclosures in it. But I want to talk about writing your own lines, like using this type of information. Okay, so this one is next level. This is how to play bebop enclosures on the bass, and I have 7 different examples. It's how to practice these examples is what we really want to focus on too. Here we have the same kind of concept where we're hitting the root, and then I'm only dealing with the 5th, and I'll talk about why a little bit later. But instead of playing just like scale step above and then chromatic below, we're going to add in an extra chromatic, and that is from the 9 to the flat 9 to the root. So if I'm trying to get to C, right, I'm going to play D, D flat, or C sharp in this case. I don't know, it just came out as a C sharp. B natural to C natural. So that gives me even more information, and it's still, visibly you can see, I'm trying to get here, I'm enclosing it. I'm not getting there, and then I'm there. That's the idea with enclosures, right? To kind of trick the ear to hear other things, and that's how we get chromaticism involved a lot in jazz. A lot of the chromatic movements and things like that is just enclosures. It's not like we're playing the whole chromatic scale all the time. We're of course using our ears, but like a bunch of it is going around this root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, different places that we can put these chromatic notes. And here's a big one. So check this out. Get this under your fingers real quick. We're starting a whole step above our goal. So we're starting a whole step. I can fit myself and the bass in there. So we're starting on D, D, D flat, B natural, C. So now do the same thing on the fifth. So over here, we're trying to get to G. We're going to start a whole step above it with our pinky, then a half step above it with our third finger, ring finger, first finger on F sharp, leading back into G again. Right? Nothing to it. That's the idea. Maybe another good thing to practice with this is moving these shapes all around the bass. So for instance, here is this shape, this above, right? Nothing fingers and in your ears. So let's make our goals, let's move them around. What if we did that same idea to F? Got that? In different places, different registers. How many different places can you play it? I think I hit them all. I can't get up much higher up there. You six stringers have the advantage, right? 7, 9 strings now. I don't know. Anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. But using that idea and moving it around. Using those type of ideas, like it just sounds like it's organized, right? And that's a big thing that we're trying to do in our lines, is make it sound organized, not sound random. That's another thing that these enclosures really help with, right? Okay, let's look at, we just did number 6. Let's try this one. This is a new one too, okay? So here's number 7. There's of course many more ways that you can do this. I just chose 7 different ones to try to outline, you know, things that we can practice. So here we are, we're still trying to get to this root, right there, right? And we're doing it in a more kind of obtuse way now. Like we're bouncing around, we're really pivoting around or enclosing our goal, which is the root. So how we're doing that is we're starting a half step below, scale step above, chromatic above, back to that half step below, and then the root again. Which sounds crazy to say it out loud, like I don't know if I've ever explained that out loud in that way. It doesn't really matter. The idea is we're trying to be here, right? But I want to approach that by a half step below first, and I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to go B to C. I'm going to hold on to that and go up to my highest option, D, and then a half step below, and then again below, then to my goal. So half step below. It really sounds like this, and that's the most important part for sure, is knowing what it sounds like, right? That's the beginning of so many lines, you know, for bebop lines. Something like that, do you know what I mean? Anyways, it can, and that's another thing that we've not talked about, is where you can put these enclosures inside of lines, but we really want to focus on just practicing them. So I won't digress too much. Ask questions in the comments if you're interested more in that, you know, help gear this conversation towards what you want to know. Because I'm here presenting this information, but we have so much more that we could always be talking about. So bounce over there, hit the comments. Oh, I'm going to do another selfless, shameless promotional type of thing for my own course, which is titled The Building Blocks of Bass, where we do quite a lot of, not electric bass, but we talk about, you know, things that are important on electric bass as far as being a jazz bass player. Roll, time, you know, playing different feels, things like that. So highly encourage you to check that out too, if you're interested. But let's do this one. We're going to focus again. Bob, focus. Come on back. So we're trying to think about the root, and I'm starting above. I just wanted to change up this exercise again. I mean above as in I'm not starting down at this C, I'm going to start at this C, right? And instead make my line descend instead of just going up. So my first goal is C, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the fifth, right? You can't do it. You could technically do it to the third, but it sounds weird to me. What what sounds more often the case is to use the two chromatic notes below the E. So as in doing F, D, D sharp, E natural. How would we do that? No? It's because we don't have that whole step above it, right? Maybe that would be the answer. Again, just knowing about these options is a big deal, right? So, but let's check out this line. I've got it written out here. And this is our 7th bebop enclosure idea. We're doing a half step below our goal, scale step above our goal, half step above the goal, and again, a half step below it, into our actual goal, right? So here we're just hitting the root, and then we're gonna hit the 5th over here. I'm not sure if those greenies are showing up in the text here, but that's what it is. We're trying to hit the thirds are the green ones, right? So, and then we're gonna come down scale degrees, B, A, G, and then we're gonna do the same thing to G, even though we've already hit it. I think this technically is called pivoting. Like when you hit the 5th, something like that. Whereas if you hit the 5th and you bounce around it, but it's a good way to add, it's a good place to add in some of that chromaticism. But let's check out the line. We'll just do it out of tempo real quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, it's hard to say that and do that. 1, 2. And so the placement rhythmically of this is important for sure. Everything is still landing on downbeats, which is not always necessary, but you know, you could move this around to different parts of the beat. Like if I move this instead on beat 1. Let's try that. Let's try playing this where it starts on beat 2, and then we'll try moving it over and see what that feels like, and we'll feel how the line changes. Ready? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, let's try that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right, so it's a little bit more involved than our previous lines, but let's say rhythmically, let's practice this. Let's practice starting it on beat 1 and see what that feels like. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it's got a different vibe to it, right? What if we started it on beat 4? Let's see what that feels like. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like we get to that goal a little bit earlier. But it's a fun thing to try to practice that, moving the lines around rhythmically, or even if they're not lines that we have like written out like we have here today, they could be lines that you're practicing or concepts that you're putting inside of a scale or a triad, which is really just what we're doing here. You know what I mean? So I've got one little thing that I wanted to include here. I was thinking about doing it first, but it's just a little line that I wrote yesterday. I think I wrote it on the upright bass, and I knew I wanted to talk about enclosures, so here's a little line that goes along with it, and it kind of reminds me of something like maybe that Oscar Peterson would play, or that like Ray Brown would play. And let's just look at it real quick and we can talk about it. And now we can be analytical a little bit and talk about, okay, here's the root, here's that chromatic motion. Where do we see some chromatic motion going here? So just to start the line, it's in C. So this is a C major, like bebop type of lick, okay? So I'm gonna start on the 5 and get to it. But I'm kind of setting up my expectation to play a C there, right? 5, 6, 7, don't. It should be that, right? Sounds like that, right? Doing 5. Except that scale step above, goal, half step below, back to goal. So see, even in this area right away, that's our above, our scale step above, goal, chromatic below, and then back to the goal. That's all that is for that whole measure right there, or measure and a 2 measures, sorry, right? So this is, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to illustrate how we can use these enclosure techniques inside of a larger line, because you don't really just want to solo just playing like enclosures over roots and thirds, or fifths as well, but you want to integrate them into longer lines. So how to practice that is up to us, right? So here's one idea that we can do. We can practice playing a line like this. Let's look at this last measure later, and let's just play the first bit first. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So that's leading up to here, right? I'm going to talk about what's happening here in a minute, but let's play this line again. Play with me. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Cool. All right, so now let's look at this last measure here. So that's kind of like a hybrid blues scale, right? Playing the flat third, natural third, fourth, the flat 5, and into the 5th. You hear that all the time. Heard that played a bunch, right? Something like that. It's a real bluesy type of idea, right? So that's what's happening here. Sharp 9, flat third, third, fourth, and then raise that by a half step to get to the 5th. And then we're going to come down in kind of a fun way. So it's like a minor 6th. So I'm thinking like a C minor 6, but it's really kind of blues scales. So from this measure, let's try getting that under our fingers real quick, because I need to get under my fingers too. I wrote this on upright. It's not going to happen on electric, but I'll try. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. See, I can't play that G up there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I like to put a little thing on it, you know, but that's up to you. Let's try this whole line together. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Right, so that's an example of a bebop line that works fine. It's got direction. See how it's raising up? And it does a little thing, it ends. It's almost like a sentence, like structuring a sentence. Here we are saying hello. What's up? Like, that sounds like it wants to lead to the root in the first place, right? What's happening? It's a little off. It sounds a little off rhythmically, right? Which can be really cool. Let's try this line one more time. See if you can get it under your fingers, in your ears, whatever. However you're doing it at home with me. Play this loud so I can hear it outside, okay? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh! See, that's what it should be. Let's practice it some more, because I need to practice it. Again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, got it that time. Let's try it a little bit faster, just because we're practicing, right? So any and all of these lines, of course, every key, you know that's a given. We'll talk another time about how to make these minor, okay? It's a whole nother thing to do it minor. Not a big difference, but there's different rules, different structures in place. Let's try the line again, okay? Because I kind of want to see if I can do it faster. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It sounds like an Oscar Peterson line, right? I'm not tripping, that's what it is. I'm gonna move this to 80. I'll try it one more time. I'm just gonna do it till I fail, right? We're live, I don't care. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, I made it through that tempo. I'm gonna say that's cool. Come with me. Let's go to 90. Again, this is 2 and 4, so we're not really that fast. Just trying to move it around and shed it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Feels good, like to do that faster. That line, it flows, right? Moving it to 100. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Andrew, what do you think I'm going to top out at? I have. I know it's sloppy, but I'm saying these are okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There we are. That's the tempo that gets me. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to call it that tempo. That's my tempo del destructo. All right. Cool. So that's my concept today as far as 7 different bebop enclosures for the bass, and today for the electric bass. Another time, we can do them again on the big guy, but for right now, let's head on over to the comments, see what folks are saying. Again, if you have any questions, if you're with us live, that's awesome. Please feel free to say what's up, say anything you like. Also come join us in the Facebook group. You can ask more questions there and interact in there. Also, every Saturday, or at least this upcoming Saturday, we're doing a guided practice session over at Open Studio's website. If you've ever bought a bass course from Open Studio or an all-access member, then you can come join us for free this Saturday to do a guided practice session where I can see you, where we can interact a little bit more and we can ask specific questions and things like that too. So if you're on the fence about checking out a course from Open Studio, it's a great time to do it because this is a little added incentive there. And we also have a special gifting thing going on too. I'm sure you can find more information below, but I think if you buy a gift for somebody, then you get $50 off another course for yourself. Is that how it goes? I think that's what's up. Check the fine print. But there's always good sales and good things going on over at Open Studio, and the content is super quality. And you have courses from Christian McBride, Ruben Rogers, Warren Wolf, Ulysses Owens, Gregory Hutchison, Peter Martin. Psh, it's ridiculous. It really is. Jeffrey Keyser. It's ridiculous the amount of talent that they have over there making courses, and the amount of information that's in that website is just unparalleled, honestly. So, anyways, that was my little commercial bit. We said hello to our friends a little earlier. Yeah, some friends out in Argentina. It's very cool. Joyce says happy holidays. Thanks, Joyce. Happy holidays to you. Okay, yeah, and Mario. Oh, we talked about this already, I think. Yeah. Enjoy this electric bass lesson. Yeah, Mario. Awesome. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll hopefully see you again on Saturday. He's one of our friends, one of our Open Studio family members. All right, Robert. Hi from Las Vegas. I'm going to do this on guitar. Woohoo! No shame. No shame. Do it on a guitar. I'm not going to give my buddy Andrew any guff about being a guitar player too. Except he doesn't even own a pick. No, I'm just kidding. He owns he's got tons of picks. But yeah, that's the idea though, Robert. That's exactly what's up. It's just language. Doesn't matter if you're saying it, if I'm saying it, or if we're writing it, it's still the same on any instrument, right? The same kind of concept. So hopefully it was cool. Hopefully it was laid out well for you. If you have any questions, let me know. What's up, Martin? From the Alps? Oh yeah. Hey Dave, I have mid-70s J bass. Awesome. But I'm gonna stick to upright today. Understood. I just wanted to get my feet wet today, get some electric bass under my feet. I don't know if I've been online with electric bass many times before. I play it. I love playing electric bass, of course. But hi, Harriet. How are you? Thanks for joining me on this one today as well. So glad you were able to make it in real time. If you have any questions, feel free. Maybe you have some down lower. Hey, Shashank. What's up? Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us again. Hope you're doing well. Okay, Fernando. What's up? What year is that precision bass? I'm not 100% certain. My buddy who I'm borrowing it from tells me that he thinks it's a 60s bass, but he's a drummer and he doesn't know. I think I didn't take the headstock off because it's not mine, but I did run the serial and it was like 76. So I think it's a 76. So, oh, Philip, thank you for catching this. I'm sure that I have some errors in my chart that's provided. D sharp instead of E flat, I'm sure that's further back. It doesn't, I'm sure what you're saying is true, is making sense. But they are inharmonic, right? So the idea, the concept is still there, but the way we're calling it, I think that's what you're referring to. But if not, enlighten me. Let me know what you mean. All right, Harriet, I like these exercises. Good. Yeah, they're ubiquitous, like no matter what instrument. Trumpet players practice these. Sax players play these. Bass players should play them. Or we should at least know about them and know what they sound like so we can make our bass lines better, right? So we don't get all confused by what those fancy sax players are doing. Cool. Hey, Kurt, how are you? Good to see you again. Rick, very nice. Awesome. I hope you're liking it. And Kurt, hi, Bob. How are you? Good to see you, Kurt. Okay, here we go. Usually walking lines are ideas in groups of 4 or 8 quarter notes. True. Are uneven groups of quarter notes such as 3, 5, 6 used often? Ooh, I like this question a lot. For example, a 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 idea, quarter notes over 4 bars. Now that's a cool idea, Shashank. I like that. And people do that. I mean, go no further. I mean, I'm sure other people have done it maybe before as well, but I mean, look no further than Ron Carter, for playing different time signatures over like 4. If you go listen to like 4 and more, listen to Ron playing with Tony Williams, you know what I mean? You can definitely, and in walking lines, of course, imply different groupings, and it can be pretty interesting. So this is, like with the exercise that we did where we did a group of 3, but we made it fit over a 4/4 measure, just creatively with the rhythm, right? So of course it can be done. And I want to hear your concept. Put it into practice, like anticipating or delaying arrival of chords. Absolutely, yes. It can cause anything that causes tension or release, and playing in those different groups might cause tension to the listener because you don't really know, or they don't know where you're heading. Like, it's one thing to be super clear and really like telegraph, I think is the right word, telegraph where it is you want to go. It's another thing, and that happens, and it's neither good nor bad. I'm just saying it's a thing. But then also you can mess with people in a way and sound like you're turning the beat around, or even maybe sound like you're lost when you're not lost, and they can give that uneasy feeling, that tension. And that's a part of music, That's a big part of music for sure. So, okay. Edelson, hey, what's up, Edelson? How are you? I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm sure sorry if I'm not. Someday you tell me in person, all right? Cool stuff, nice instrument. Do you use 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 4 in half position? You caught me on my upright / electric chops. When I'm down here, let me think. I'll just play so that I know, honestly. Right there, I did 1, 2, but I think I'm more inclined to use 4 to answer you honestly, Edelson, because I'm used to that claw uprightness. Well, that was 3 right there while I was talking, so it's in there somewhere. It's in my DNA to play 3 down there. I guess if I'm really being 100% honest, I don't think about it that much. I use whatever I'm using that pops up, especially in this lower area. Since I'm not using, I don't know, I don't think 1 finger per fret down here too often. I'll think 1, 2, 4. I'm not gonna lie. I think about that way. How do you do it? 1, 2, 3 makes sense because, and kind of what we are implying that people know is 1 finger per fret type of method, like this, right? Which is great, and it's more efficient than doing like the claw, the upright claw is what I mean, doing 1, 2, 4 and knocking out your ring finger. Whereas we can definitely make this work, right? So maybe I should practice it with my 3rd finger there instead. But again, if I'm being honest, my 3rd finger now feels really tired. So no, just kidding. All right, so, okay. So for example 7 into the 3rd note, let me look at my example number 7. Dave, for example 7 into the 3 note, you could start on F sharp. Like F, F sharp, F. Yeah, sure. Yeah, totally, Dave. Right. I think I'm more used to hearing this kind of sound though. Less lines, you totally could. I mean, numerically, it's fine, and it's even, you know, it's even more symmetrical. Yeah, okay, you wrote more. Hold on, let me check that out. Yeah, let me hear it, Dave. What do you have? Or maybe it should be E, F sharp, F. Ooh, I like that too. As long as you're getting, you know, what's the constant is where you're heading, right? It's still that E. So, but I like that you're starting on this. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, I'm sold. That works. Got to put it in a solo. That's the real money, right? Is can we get this into our lines, into our solos, or into our compositions, right? That's the real, for me, that's my goal. Like that's the hardest thing, of course. Rick, terrific class. Hey, thanks. Awesome. Adding the building blocks of bass for sure. Hey, thanks, Rick. That's really sweet. Thanks, man. So will this be a YouTube video? This will be a YouTube video for sure, Philip. It'll be available on Open Studio's YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button. And it will be available for a while, I'm sure. There's, we've done, I don't know how many sessions we're in right now or how many we've done prior, but there are a lot more that are up that are for free. Just go check out Open Studio's YouTube channel, and it's all there. Not just bass, great piano stuff, live listening sessions. There's so much good stuff happening at Open Studio. So check out the schedule for sure. And my buddy already took care of that, but that was my long-winded answer. You know, Andrew's trying to stop me from answering questions so that so he can get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. On upright, you lost me at about 90 BPM. Oh, for that last line. You know, Dave, I'm not going to pull up the upright and show you how to play it at 90 beats per minute, but no, I'm just kidding. I didn't clock what tempo I was doing, and I hadn't played it on electric before. But, you know, the concept of the line I think is good. I think it's a well-written line. If I could ever play it in solo, and especially at a tempo, you know, that's 180-ish, but 200, that would be, you know, like, that'd be respectable, right? To be able to come up with something like that. Okay, I notice you're slurring the second and the third notes of each pattern. Cool. Yeah. So I probably was. You can articulate each one of those for sure. And I will absolutely agree with you, Robert. I'm sure that I did. I'm positive that I did. And it's also kind of comes into, you know, that's kind of, for me, that's conversation. I play a lot of upright bass. Maybe you do too. But I think about that as well with how I'm slurring or connecting notes in the left hand using hammer-ons or pull-offs, and I think that's what you're referring to here, right? The pull-off, the hammer-on, and to me, you know, it's more of a taste thing. If I was trying to articulate like a bird melody, I might play each note, you know, without any slurs or pull-offs, things like that. But if you think about, you know, like a horn player, yeah, they slur notes all the time. Where are they slurring notes? Where are people connecting their eighth note lines or playing lines that are, you know, have some staccato notes in there to give some articulation and some, you know, like extra nuance to the line? If I articulated each one, I mean, that's a good goal for technique. That's what I'm trying to say. What do you think about that? Versus sounds different to me, you know what I mean? It's got more of a, and again, I'm not saying one is better than the other, their taste, if you can mix and match them too. Now, I don't have any of those slurred notes on my chart there, for sure. I don't do that, so, but that's, you know, that's a good thing to check out, or that's a great thing to make me aware of and to make the watchers aware of too. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. That's really cool. Hey, what's up, Wayne? How are you? Good to see you. Awesome. Thanks for joining me here. Okay. Oh, Scott, on Saturday, noon Central Time. So I'm not sure where you're based out of, Scott, But if you're part of the Open Studio family, you have gotten an email, I'm sure. Or you can go into the Open Studio website and click on the course that you've bought before. You should be able to find a link there too. If not, just send an email. Everybody at Open Studio is super helpful, okay? So, but noon on Saturdays, okay? Cool. What's up, Eric? Thanks. Very impressed with your work. Also with the Christian McBride course. Kudos. Thanks, Eric. Really appreciate that. I'm glad you checked out the course. That's really cool. So thank you. Appreciate the kind words. Scott Marshall, terrific, valuable stuff. Sweet. I'm just going to read all the good comments. Of course, there's many bad comments that I'm just skipping over. So, you know, just kidding. I'm grateful for all the good comments. Thank you. Very cool. Worked great on guitar. You're both fretted instruments. Yes. Right on, Robert. Good to hear. Let's play it together sometime. Frederico, hi Bob, can I suggest a session with walking bass fills and embellishments? Yeah, absolutely, Frederico, for sure. You could also maybe in the previous guided practice sessions that we've done, you would find some stuff that you're interested in, because I know that we've definitely talked a little bit about doing like pull-offs and little skips, like triplets, things like that, how to add some rhythmic stuff into our lines. You can feel free to check out that video, but I'm always thinking of new things that we can get going on. So, so very much appreciated. Thank you, Frederico. Okay, Thomas, it's midnight in France, but so useful to follow you every Monday. Thanks a lot. Oh, Thomas, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Thanks for staying up. But you're in France. I don't know. Where are you in France? It might still be early, right? Christian, harmonically, the line you wrote fits only one chord, or could we use it in a specific progression? Hey, that's a great, very astute question. Harmonically, the line you wrote fits only one chord, and that's correct. Everything that we did today is on the chord C. You can use the same idea. Say if this was C7. Say if it was a dominant chord. Honestly, the same rules, all of those same rules, every line that we just did would still apply. Even if that dominant seventh was in there, you could still use the B natural to get back to that C. It's a little bit different. So what I'm saying is if you're on a dominant seventh chord, you can use these same exercises. If you're on minor, it's a slightly different situation. I'll just really quickly explain that. So if I'm on the root, this is C minor now. I can play the goal, a half step below it. That's always going to be the same. Scale step above. That's D to C. If I do it minor, now my third is E flat. I could think a half step below E flat, which is D. Scale step above, which is F. So same idea there, right? G is the fifth of C minor, right? Half step below, so still an F sharp. But now typically what happens is instead of an A, a lot of times we'll hear an A flat. A half step above, oh, like harmonic minor. Right? Like You and the Night and the Music comes to mind. That kind of concept, okay? Hopefully that helped, Christian. But yeah, that is not something I addressed, so thank you for bringing that up. Okay, yeah, Peter is with me. Ron's rhythmic conception is one of the most overlooked aspects of his playing. For sure, for sure. I mean, everything is so good with Ron, but if you get in deep, yeah, his rhythmic conception is something else. One finger per fret makes sense on electric bass, for sure, definitely. You did slurring, oh, Robert, yeah, okay, because I was about your comment earlier, yeah. You did slurring just on the last line, it sounds great. Okay, cool, glad you like it. If I'm not too sure where I was specifically doing the slurring, but you know, you use your ear. I'm sure you're of the same, you know, thinking the same thing, right? Scott, what's up? You're in Reno. Yeah, so you're an hour later than me maybe, if you're in Reno too? Anyways, it's Central Time, noon, CT on Saturdays. So come hang out. It'll be a lot of fun, Scott, okay? Okay, all right, here's our last ones. Mario, hey, I'm glad this is the last comment. I like Mario. If each one of our chord tones fall in upbeats, are we still defining the quote-unquote color of the chord? I mean, it's not very outside. I don't know if I made my question right. Hope it makes sense. Let me reread the first part again. I'm with you. I think I understand. If each one of our chord tones, either the third, that's the root, the third, or the fifth, fall in upbeats, are we still defining the color of the chord? I think so. Just in that amount of the question that you've posed so far, Mario, I think so by our note choice. It's very, you can definitely move around those chord tones where they fall. They don't always have to be on beats 1 or 3 or on all down beats even. They can definitely fall on upbeats and still define the character or the quality of the chord that you're dealing with, for sure, for sure. So don't be too concerned with that. It's more of like a goal, a practice, or like a good practice to try to get those quarter notes or those chord tones on downbeats. Man, I can't speak tonight. So that it totally is okay. It is okay. I mean, it's not very outside. Yeah, it's not. No, it's not very outside if you're used to hearing it, I think. But if you were to play something like this, to maybe somebody that just learned a major scale for the first time, they'd probably say, "Hey, that's pretty. What? Like," and maybe not even hear that the major scale's in there. I don't know. 2 cents. Anyways, I'm still talking. Scott, yeah, I'm in St. Louis. Yep, in St. Louis. Okay. Oh, Robert's on it, man. I got to be more careful with what I'm playing here, don't I? Thank you, Robert. You slurred the second to the third note of each pattern, i.e., BC. Ah. That's really funny, man. That's how I would bow it playing arco. I would slur those notes. If it was slower or if it was faster. I'm trying to think hypothetically, but I think a lot of that comes through in my practice as far as playing with the bow and on the upright bass. The double bass is what I'm talking about. And I think they're comparable. It's like how you're saying it. So you slurred the second to third note. Ah, short, long, long, that makes sense, yeah. Depending on where you're putting. I think rhythmically it has to do, a lot of it is by ear. And you said it sounds great. Okay, good. I didn't read that and I was just like, man, Robert's all up in my business. I'm just kidding, man. I appreciate it. That's a really, really good thing to bring up, for sure. Mario, hey, you're welcome. Oh, here we go. The St. Louis connection is happening again. Yes, I know Rick Hayden, and I studied with him at SIUE for a while myself. I really did. I went to SIUE for my grad studies, like 4 years ago, something like that, on upright bass. And yeah, I studied with Rick as well. Rick is awesome, doing really well. Big Bucky Pizzarelli fan, of course. We did a lot of playing together when I was at SIUE. So cool, alma mater, I love it. Very cool, Robert. Okay, that's all the time we have today for the Building Blocks of Bass. My name, again, is Bob DeBoo. Really glad that you joined us. If you're watching us post, hey, what's up? Come join us in real time sometime. Please leave a comment. Please subscribe to Open Studio. Please check out some of the courses that we have going on. And I hope you enjoyed our time together today. I know I did. So happy practicing. Peace.